we're going to consistently try to become a little bit more perfect every single day. Especially with the money that you're making, it'll skyrocket your growth significantly.
How to get to 8 figures. Never stop selling, never stop. That's it.
I'd be using. We don't use any of our cash to pay any agency bills.
Highest leverage activity is hiring better people because people create more leverage. I was talking to, I think, Dave yesterday, and I was like, dude, what's been your biggest takeaway so far? He was like, honestly, it's the corner conversations. It's the conversations that happen in the back of the room that little nuggets get dropped, and they change your entire perspective on yourself, your life, your business, your agency. Courtney, huge shout out to you. The first day, bro, how many questions did you ask me? A lot, bro. A lot, but did you get any value? 100%. Right, because it's hands-on. Yeah. It's applicable to you. So, like, all this stuff is cool. There's so many great strategies that you guys got from all the speakers, but, like, you guys as individuals, take this time to be selfish, be vulnerable, be honest with what you're struggling about, because that's what I'm here to help with. I'm fascinated with how we can transform ourselves as human beings. So what I want to focus on is how you guys can transform as entrepreneurs and as agency owners, financially, mentally, all that stuff. So with that being said, who is the first question? Okay, Rain, because we were talking earlier. Yeah. So
Where is the best place to get OPM right now?
That's a Jared question.
I can.
OPM, best way.
You know Christian, right? He came to my Mexico event. I would talk to Christian. He's the guy I go to whenever I need debt. But honestly, dude, you can find a lot of good products yourself. But I would work with Christian. He's someone I use for lending. He connects me with a lot of products that are good. Like my lines of credits I get from Christian. My 0% stuff I get from Christian. He knows my situation. I have really great credit. I have a really good credit score. I've been building it since I was 17. But with that being said, I have low history. So because of that, and some of you guys may have the inverse. You might have a lot of history but low credit. But because of that, he was able to do a custom plan for me and figure out what I needed, specifically what the products that were going to help me, or they would give me their product basically, because they're not always going to give you their product. So I would connect with Christian. I can connect you with him.
I actually got him already.
Cool. Another thing, dude, Headway Capital. They're great for Headway Capital. They're good for lines of credits. Go to your banks. Go to your regional banks. I know I just talked about regional banks, but use their products. Using their products, there's nothing wrong with using their products. I wouldn't keep money in a regional bank because, unfortunately, the Fed just fucked them. But I would definitely use their products and support them. They're going to give you some good deals. They need the business. The big institutions don't. They don't care about you.
Yeah.
Jared, what's been your biggest fear when you're running an agency, and how has that shifted to what you're the most afraid of in business now?
My biggest fear ever running an agency
Good question.
has been the fear of of waking up one day and not being able to pay all of my employees. That's been my biggest fear. Was there a follow-up question?
Yeah, and how has that shifted to what your biggest fear might be now in the businesses that you're in?
I think it's the same. I don't think that'll ever change. I think if I want to look back before I started having a team, I guess that's a better way to phrase it. I've had a team for a long time, so that's always been in the back of my mind. Before, the fear of, honestly, being on my deathbed one day and saying I could have done more. That's scary. It scares me.
Yeah, I'll answer that too. I think regret is the thing that scares me the most. And I'm fascinated with the concept of impermanence and how, like, all of this is just, it's a game. It's a joke. We're all going to die. No one's going to remember any of us. We're recording this, but, like, that camera is going to be gone one day. Everything is impermanent. So the idea that one day I'm not going to be here, but all I get to die with is my own mind and what I thought about my own life, like, how can I optimize that? How can I feel as good as possible lying on my deathbed? My biggest fear was not being good enough for the team. And I heard Brian Chesky say this, the CEO of Airbnb, such a good leader. If you guys watch Brian Chesky, he's so fucking good. He said, you should have a team that is so good, they're almost making you insecure. because of how good they are. Like they make you almost scared to lead them because of how smart they are. Our team is that fucking good. So that's why, like, the last year I've leveled up so much just to keep up with the fucking team. So my biggest fear was not being good enough for the team. The way I handled that was letting go of the things that made me not good enough to lead them. Like, it's a lot of personal shit. We joke about jacking off and stuff a lot, but like, I don't feel good leading people if I watch fucking porn. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't feel good about leading people if I eat processed food. I don't feel good about leading people if I go to the bars to try to get laid. It's just, I need to. It's just, I just don't feel good leading a team of 7-figure human beings if I'm not actually acting like a 7-figure human being myself. So I just had to level up myself as a person. Eric, I think you had a question too before that. All right. Anybody else have a question?
Where
Yeah.
did you guys like find your mentors? And I'm not talking like the on Facebook ads, like not coaches, but I mean like those mentors.
So, like, direct mentors or like indirect mentors?
Well, because in my personal belief, like a mentor is somebody who like, or a coach, somebody that gives advice, like do this, do this, do this.
Mm-hmm.
But like a mentor is like wisdom, like points in these directions. And so, maybe my own limiting beliefs, there's a million coaches that I could hire tomorrow. But it's like that mentor kind of thing. And I've heard you throughout the weekend, you talk about like Joel and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm curious as to what things you did to put yourself in an environment to increase the likelihood of stumbling across that one person who was willing to genuinely win.
I'm not the best networker. The reason I developed a relationship with Joel is because I asked him questions about himself rather than how can you help me, Joel? Which is what everybody goes to Joel and does. How can you help my agency? How can you do this? I asked him about him. I got him to tell me basically his life story. Turns out he had a panic attack from, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. He had some shit that he went through and I went through the exact same thing. So we just connected really well. And we built a relationship that was stronger than, mentor-mentee. It was deeper than that. It was just a friendship. My dad told me a story. Does anybody know who Barry Sanders is? Football player. Yeah, Detroit Lions running back. My dad told me this story of this guy I used to work with. He went to the bar and he saw Barry Sanders there. And everybody's like, Barry Sanders, the legend. Like, what's up? Can I get an autograph? Can I get a picture? This guy just went up and started asking Barry Sanders questions about his life. They became really good friends and business partners. So if you get in the rooms with those people, like that Jacob guy, I don't know if he's here still, but like I was just trying to learn about him and like ask him questions. If you can get really good at tactically asking questions, getting somebody to open up about themselves, that's so powerful because it builds a relationship that's way stronger than business and networking. You're just a human being to them. So if you can first put yourself in those rooms and then go up and just ask those people about themselves, not how can you help me, Dylan? Can you tell me about yourself, Matt, or whatever, whoever it is? So that's how, and then YouTube, I find a lot of indirect mentors like Chamath Palihapitiya, billionaire investor, nobody talks about. The guy has so much gold on YouTube for free. Drew Houston, CEO of Dropbox, Brian Chesky. Like, bro, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of courses on YouTube and free interviews. So I love looking at those guys too.
I think you can find a lot of mentors out of coaches. I have a different approach than Matt. For me, I always like to figure out how to provide value to certain people. Sergio had a massive impact on my life. Robert Kiyosaki is definitely an indirect mentor of mine. I would consider him to just be a mentor. The information's there. He may not be talking to me, but he's talking to me, when you watch the videos. Sergio had a massive impact on my life. Billy Wilson had a massive impact on my life. And they started off as being coaches, but then you're able to see through a lot of people that they have the potential to really shift the entire trajectory of where you're going to end up. So, for example, for a period of time, I was Agency Lab's biggest, it was 7FA back then, 7FA's biggest refer. For a period of time, I was which helped me become really good friends with Sean, I was high levels. I was in high levels top 10 affiliates for in the very beginning for a period of time, and referring people was a big thing for me, because that gives them a lot of value. And when you're their top affiliate, they want to take care of you. In addition to that, whenever I go to events, I always ask. Like I just went to Robert Kiyosaki's event. This is a really good story. I went to their event and I asked their team. I always connect with their team. I always build good relationships with the person I'm trying to be around. I want to connect with their team first, because who has access to that person? Their team. So I would always build relationships with their team and get really close with them and support them and ask questions like Matt says. And I've built a lot of great relationships and friendships that way too. But I went to Robert Kiyosaki's event and I asked his team if I could film a testimonial about their event. And I did it, and I had some alone time with them, and I was able to talk to them. And they invited me to come on and do a podcast, which is scheduled on their show Millennial Money on YouTube. And I went up to Kim Kiyosaki. I talked about my story, and I said, how can I volunteer at your company? Not intern, but volunteer, because I understood their mission. That's a big thing right there. I understood their mission. I talked about the mission first, and I said I want to help out with that. So just providing value that way. So basically some of the testimonials, giving them testimonials and referrals. Oh, and getting close with their team.
That's a nugget. If you want to get to the person in the middle, get to the people around them. That's good. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Why do I do business? Well, we haven't sold the agency yet, so I got to do that first. The reason I'm going to hop right back into business again is because, has anybody ever heard somebody say, your business is just a reflection of yourself? Has everybody heard that? I'm fascinated with what we're capable of as human beings, like I said earlier. Business to me, because it is just a reflection of me. In order to develop a business, I must develop myself. So I'm fascinated with not how much money you get by building an 8-figure company. Who do you become to be able to run an 8-figure company, a billion-dollar company? It's just a next level person. That's why I play the game. What? So I just wrote out my personal mission statement like 3 days ago. I believe the purpose of life is to cultivate self-respect, and I believe the meaning of life is to pass that on to others. So my mission is to create a world of self-respect and understanding, which is basically just like wisdom and peace, and like that's what I'm passionate about. So I think business is just a way for me to find that, and then I can share it with the world in some way. But why do you play the game? He just wanted to get rich.
I play the game because of fear, because of the stuff that I just talked about. That's why I probably scaled and wanted to build agencies right out of high school or in high school rather than wait. Why do I play the game now? Fear definitely isn't as big of a motivator. The team will drive you. They'll push you. It's also, I don't know, it's just fun.
It is fun. It's a video game. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions, agency related, personal related, anything? Yes. 100%. Actually, I was thinking about this today. Jared and I have worked like 4 hours each this week. I worked 4 hours last week. I've worked 4 hours this week. The agency's doing like $250 a month.
I haven't worked 4 hours.
Okay, lucky you. We've worked a couple hours this week, both of us. And you know why we're the best in the space as far as like these types of agencies? There's way better, like Zillow and all them. We're not on the same level. But why I think we're the best agency is because we have the best people. Richard Barton said, the CEO of Zillow, I was telling you this earlier, but I'll say it again. Thanks for asking. The founder of Zillow, the founder of Expedia, one of the only people on the planet to found multiple billion-dollar companies. He gave this nugget in a little 30-second interview. Some girl walked up to him at a conference with an iPhone, was like, can I ask you some questions? He's like, sure. And he just dropped the sauce. And he said, there's only 2 things that matter in a startup. There's only 2 things. The size of the market and the quality of the team. We are in a big-ass market. Real estate is huge. We have a badass team.
They will
We
run
hopped on the
circles.
leadership meeting today. You could say it.
They will run circles around. I'm sorry, but all of your agencies.
That's okay though, because no, no, it's our team. I hopped on the leadership meeting
You
today.
thought they were coaching us?
I thought it was a coaching call, the coaching group, you guys doing something like that.
Yeah, that's because that's how they, bro, they're so fucking smart. So like we hop on the leadership meeting today, and I'm like, I don't even know what's going on in the agency, but they're working on new AI software. We're working on integrating ChatGPT to high level. All of you should look into doing that, by the way. That's just gold that you can sell to and make your product way better. They're working on making our product better, like downsells, all this shit. Jared and I don't even do it. They just do it themselves. So I think we're the best because we have the best team, to be honest with you. And I think you can beat us, but you have to get a better team. Alex Hormozy says, your company is limited by its total intellectual capacity. So your company is only as good as your team is smart. So if you want to go bigger, you have to get smarter. It's the biggest thing.
You said something interesting. You said your team is pretty good. No, I get it. I get it. But the thing that I would say, and I have this, it's a duality thing. Part of me is I know we have a really, really good team. And then another part of me knows that I will replace people in a few months to get better people. Because the team is never perfect. In America's founding, we say a more perfect union. Sorry, the sun's in my eyes. More perfect, not a perfect, a more perfect. Same thing with business. We're going to consistently try to become a little bit more perfect every single day. And I think there are a lot of things that we can do better. And I think that's a big thing. We don't stay constant. We keep putting pressure on them. And we trim the fat when we need to, because the people that get you to 6 figures aren't going to get you to 7 figures. People that get you to 7 figures aren't going to get you to 8 figures.
How do you get the best people? Right? That kind of becomes the question. Like everybody should be asking themselves, how can I get the best people to follow my mission so I can build the best company, the biggest company? I'll just give a quick hiring like nugget that we learned from Sam Ovens, and it's anti-entropy. And entropy is basically, I think it's the second law of thermodynamics, which is basically the idea of complexity. And I know it's yawn worthy. It's fucking entropy in science. It's boring. I get it. But it's valuable. Because entropy is basically the more units that you add within a confined closed system, the more complex that system becomes. The world is entropy. When there were 2 people on this planet, it was so fucking simple. Now we have cameras and mega mansions in Missouri. Like there's so much complexity. A company's the same way. When it's just you, it's just you. But when you have 20, 30, 40 people, there's so much complexity. So how do you manage that? How do you avoid that complexity? How do you become anti-entropic in your company? Every single person you hire in a department has to be better than the last person you hired in that department. That's what we did within our CSM backend team. Every rep we hired was better than the last one. And if you can do that at scale, which you can, because you hire slow and you fire fast. You hire slow, you fire fast, you promote the fastest. And if you can do that at scale, you can actually build the best team. But most people are not disciplined enough to deal with pain of not having a person in place. They'd rather hire a bad person that they know is going to backfire. And it always backfires. So anti-entropy is really, really powerful when it comes to hiring. For me, it does depend on the position. I don't need a salesperson to be empathetic. I don't. I need fucking Jose, bro. Wherever Jose is, that's who I need applying to my company. For CSMs, I'm looking for somebody who actually gives a fuck. Because if they care enough, they'll figure it out.
Empathy test.
We literally did empathy tests, and we would have people actually take an empathy test, but we had a shorty fucking finesse that test who had no empathy, but she had a 97, and she was, oh, bro, don't get me started. So I don't believe that behavioral tests can actually predict behavior, so I don't really like that anymore. I just talk to the person, and I ask them questions. Tell me about a time is such a powerful way to interview. Tell me about a time. Yeah.
Someone let you know that for the airlines, when I get hired,
That's what they say?
that is the exact.
Tell me about a time.
And these are positions that pay $6, $7, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what you're doing models them too, and that's what I'm trying to do. But hiring I was gonna comment on that. Like, I don't think tests matter as much as a face-to-face. And the airlines are 16,000 pilots, there, and if they still do face-to-face, but that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I like the test, but
My interviews are so abnormal. They're just weird. Like I'm just talking to the person and I'm like trying to learn who they are. Like who are you? Exactly. And they should. They should. That's what it should feel like. Because nothing beats experience. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, and then we ask for recommendations from the team. We've gotten some really good candidates, but like, who do you know? We'll pay you $500 if you refer someone. Someone in Ecuador wants that $500. Refer someone that gets hired to the company. So if you have good people, you want more people like them. So ask the people you have and really dive deep into those networks. And then recruiters are big too. Yeah. Anything you would add to that? Any other questions? Michael.
I think this one's more for you, but for someone that wants to learn more about biohacking, where should they start?
I'm the original biohacker.
He used to be on his biohacking shit. So I'm not the best biohacker in the world, I'll be honest. It's just my roommate's a performance coach and he's really into biohacking, so I've learned a few things. I think the two biggest things you can do biohacking wise is get good sleep and eat a good diet. And like if you just do those two things, you'll become a better person, you'll become a different person because you literally are what you eat. Like diet's so big. I've been feeling like shit this week because look at what we're eating, bro. I had pizza for lunch. I felt so foggy. I felt like, and I used to do that 2-3 years ago. I didn't realize I felt foggy because I was so used to it. Now when I eat pizza or something, I'm like, damn, this is how I used to feel all the time. What you put into your body, you put into your mind. So like, they're not separate entities. They are the same. So if you put processed foods, chemicals, seed oils, if you put that shit into your body, you're putting it into your mind, and your mind is what makes you money. So you're fucking up your ability to make money by eating all that shit. I really, really believe in that. Where can you go to learn? There's a lot of good books, The Mind-Gut Connection, that will really get your diet right and really change the way you think about what you eat. Watch Alex Hormozi's $100 million sleep routine if you want to sleep better. That's really, really powerful. And yeah, I mean, YouTube, bro. YouTube. 100 million sleep's a really good one, though.
There's only so much free stuff you can consume, and free stuff is cool, but the reason why you guys are actually going to take action is because we charge you money. The reason, here's a good story. Vikram, I've known him since middle school. I've been trying to get him to start an agency since high school. He would not do it. I taught him a lot for free. The one time I charged him was the time he actually took action. And it was how he built a 6-figure agency. It's because I charged him. I charged him to come to this event. Now he gets a discount, sorry, but he does. But nonetheless, I still charge him because he has to take action. Michael, pay. Just pay someone. Eric Elia.
I can connect you with my coach too if you want.
I believe Eric Elia is the best coach right now in the space.
I believe my coach.
Eric Elia is going to cost you a few $1,000s a month. He has a tremendous amount of experience working with 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs that do what we do. He knows what he's doing. So I would recommend Eric Elia because he's going to, rather than learning all this stuff, testing a bunch of this stuff, some of it doesn't work, some of it works. Just work with Eric. He'll just make sure that you're on point. He doesn't work with that many clients, but I can connect you with him. I highly, highly recommend him, especially with the money that you're making. It'll skyrocket your growth significantly.
If you were going to keep the agency, would you try to scale it, because you're at whatever you guys are at right now, would you try to scale it, and if so, how?
See, he's taking advantage of the Q&A.
I do have a plan on how we would scale it, 100%. I will not be sharing the plan. But what I will say is I don't think we would scale it. I think we've talked about it. If we don't sell, we're probably going to scale down.
And he's asking about plans to be why profits or this or...
Not because of profits. We had an amazing profit month last month with doing very, very little work. Better profit than a lot of agencies where the business owners are in the actual company. So it's not a profit thing. It's a mental, what's the right word?
It's a mental weight.
Yeah, it's a mental weight, 100%. It takes up, like, even though I'm here, even though I don't do that much work, it takes up so much mental weight and adds so much stress, unwanted stress. And the only times you are needed in the agency are for big, big problems. So there will be times where, like, once a month, there's like this big, big issue that only I can handle. But we would scale back. Why? Because we'll be even more profitable. We'll be pretty efficient. But most importantly, we could fix a lot of issues that we haven't fixed because we've been so focused on scaling. But we can stabilize, and we could put in a CEO, and it would be even more automated than it is now. So this would be my formula. Matt may have a different opinion. 1 CSM, 1 media buyer. We fire every single one of our annoying clients that honestly they're just victims and they're not doing the work and they're bad business owners, right? Bad business owners. We would fire all the clients that are bad business owners. We'd probably have 2 salespeople and an executive assistant, and the sales manager would also act as the CEO.
Would you do the same thing? It's just at a smaller scale, still let them with you?
Yeah, I would do the exact same fulfillment, 100%.
Christian, your mindset?
Yeah, no, good questions, man. What I can tell you about how I would scale up, because I don't want to leave you hanging on. I can't tell you the whole plan.
Or even better, tell me what pitfalls you would avoid. Aside from like ad spend, getting a leadership team, tell me what you would avoid.
Scaling up? Nothing, because you have to learn it. You have to learn it. Because if you don't learn it now, you're going to learn it later on, and it's going to be even more of a roadblock for you.
Nothing that's going off in your head like, okay, my OKR for the next. I think you don't set revenue goals in one of your videos. Not to Matt, I'm
I do.
YouTube junkie.
I do.
The company does not set revenue goals, though.
The company
So
does.
if your goal is to scale,
They're not.
obviously you're not just going to do every single. You're not just going to throw it at the wall, turn around, and not look at it. But what are some things that are going off in your mind? Like, I know already I've learned this lesson. I'm going to avoid that. Hey, I'm not going to hire 15 salespeople. I'm going to hire 3 at the time, or I'm going to avoid this. There has to be something.
There's a lot, dude. Like it's a loaded question. I'm just trying to think of like what would be the most valuable thing.
I got something if you want. Yeah. The biggest thing it's so simple, but like the biggest thing I would focus on is relentless discernment of the most important things and like making sure we don't get sidetracked and focusing on things that aren't real problems to scaling. So how do you discern what is actually a real problem and what isn't? Well, acquisition, LTV, team. That's it. That's it. I'm not getting bogged down in our make automations. I'm not getting bogged down in our SOPs and our scripts. That does not matter. Team, product, sales. That's it. Like, how can we sell more? How can we pull the lever of LTV, which is going to be done through expectations and then perception of product on the back end? Like, yeah, you can make your product better, but you also can just make your product perceived better, which is like kind of interesting, but like you can just make the clients actually realize the value you're providing more than you were before. We've probably doubled our LTV just by providing the same product, but like telling people and explaining the product in a different way to where they're like, oh, I actually get it now. I'll stay for longer. This makes sense. Yeah, so there's 3 levers to retention. There's 3 R's of retention. There is relationship, there's recognition, and there's results. Relationship and recognition are so underrated. Results is what everybody thinks is the problem. Relationship and recognition is actually the problem. Within a community especially. So within our community, how can we build stronger relationships with our clients? How can we give more recognition to the top people? How can we shout people out? How can we give more recognition? And then by doing that, you improve the results because they're more motivated to get shit done. Because the community becomes stronger, and that makes the results better. Like when the community's on fire, everybody's like, all right, one thing we started doing is a lead calling game show. We created this thing called the lead calling game show. Our head coach came up with it. Once a week, all the clients come on and they just call leads. We're building the relationship. We're shouting people out when they call a lead and they book an appointment, and we're improving the results. So like that's one thing. If you're thinking about the hybrid model, do a lead calling game show where you gamify the thing that they hate to do, which is calling leads. But relationship recognition results, and then I think expectations are huge. We've really dialed in expectation setting, bro. Like it's so dialed in that the perception of our product is just way more spot on because they know what they're getting before they actually ever get a lead. So we get really clear on just like telling them the truth. Same product, different perception, changes the LTV. Yeah. We literally just tell them like, yo, some of the leads are gonna suck. Some of the leads are gonna suck. Look at all, we just use our case studies, we leverage our testimonials, and we're like, look, Lori Seward, she's been with us for 15 months. She's closed like 12 deals. Some of her leads sucked. She makes $400K a year. She didn't want to work the leads. You don't want to work the leads, you make $50K a year. Lori's working the leads. Work the fucking leads. You see Lori, you see Cecilia, you see David, you see all, we just put our most successful clients. You see Bobby Hall close 19 deals in 3 months. He worked the fucking leads. So we just tell them, look, not all the leads are going to be good. They weren't good for any of our most successful clients. But the most successful people did these things despite X, Y, and Z problem, and that's why they won. And so we just tell them the truth. It's like a dance. You get them excited with what's possible, and then you bring them back down with what's reality. And like if you can manage that dichotomy on the expectation call, they're excited, but they're also expecting of what's going to come. And I can send you our slides too. I'm not sending them to me. No, I'm playing. Yeah. There's only so much energy that you can expand and focus on. So where you put your energy is the most important thing.
Hey, Jared, totally curious, and I don't even know if this information is available or none of our business. What are you selling your company for?
I can't disclose that. Legally, I can't disclose that.
I got it.
24 million.
If you get Matt tipsy enough, he might say it. He'll give everything away. If you guys want information, Matt will tell you everything.
But how old are the two of you?
21 and 22.
22.
It will be a multi-7-figure exit though.
Yeah.
That's what I can say.
Quick tip about selling companies, if just as a bonus, because we've gone through this process, the mic matters. We're selling at a lower multiple. I can't get into all the specifics, like Jared said, because he'll get mad at me, and we'll get sued. But we're selling at a lower multiple because we've only been in business for 18 months. We had been in business for 36 months, our multiple would be higher. And also, because our EBITDA, which is a fancy word for profit, is 750, we're also selling at a lower multiple. Once you cross $1 million in profit, you can sell for 4 to 5 times your profit. But from 500 to $1 million, you can sell for 2 to 3 times. So playing that game of getting to $1 million profit is really, really interesting because you literally almost double your multiple. So the goal really should be, how do I get to $1 million a year profit and then sell for like 4.5 times and never have to work again? Ben's going to be there soon. Eric?
I can't hear you too well.
Let's say you were in a different spot. The agency is in a more scaled down version. Maybe your margins aren't as good. You're in the business. You're seeing some of the same things. Like, what would your game plan be with what you see of where markets, economies, and everything is going, and you're not in the spot you're in, where you don't have cash in the bank and all these other resources and everything?
Good question.
Like, and I guess to give you further context, we've talked to a handful this weekend. I give that scenario, but I'm asking selfishly for myself as somebody that has, yes, cash, but is also going to be expending that cash to pivot. It also has that to worry about.
Yeah, I'd be using 0% credit. 100%. Um, for 12 months, I mean, you're gonna, dude, you know how to run a business. You're already getting estimates. I know your situation. You're already getting estimates. You're gonna make money. I definitely do 0%. For State AI, like I said yesterday, it was all leverage. We did not put a single dollar. Our basis was zero. What would I do differently? I just build a sales team faster if I was in that situation and bigger. Very, very messy. Messy makes money. It just does.
It causes a lot of headaches later.
It does. Got to fix it.
Yeah.
That's business. You're not going to avoid the problem.
But you get messy and sell and allow to sell your way out.
That's my strategy. Works for me. I don't think it works for everyone, but it works for me.
Why don't you get concerned about you have 0% for 12 months, which is a long time, yes. But why do you not get concerned or worried or fearful of being over leveraged and not being able to pay it back?
It's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a concern. And because of that, you have to scale harder. You have to go all in, right? But I think, and you should too, so much conviction and that you have the ability to make money doing whatever. Like you can make money doing whatever. You will be able to pay it back. I've been in this situation with Scope, my original agency, where we had some issues with Stripe with holding funds. We had like $40,000, $50,000. It's around that, 30, 40, something like that, $1,000. That the people that I left Scope in charge with, they were basically over leveraged, and that was for payroll. And I personally had to take care of that myself, personally, which I did, but it's happened to me. It's a risk that, some people aren't willing to take. I'm not saying you should take it, but that's a risk that I'm willing to take, so that's what I would do.
So even if, with everything you think is happening with the markets and everything, even with a decent chunk of cash on the sidelines, would you still be leveraging 0%? Or would you just be leveraging the cash you got?
I'd be leveraging 0% because I can get a higher return. Matt and I have this debate all the time. I won't bully him too much because I could say a lot right now. But we have this debate all the time about if you wanted to buy $1 million house and you had $1 million in the bank, just use the $1 million and use no debt.
Oh, I get what you're saying. So you would make the argument, put it all on 0%, take that cash that you're gonna have to pay with that, go put it into team building.
I would honestly use the 0% for the agency because that's a proven concept. I use your cash for the painting company. Scale that up. Yeah, your agency is gonna make money. You need a bigger sales team.
Why doesn't it feel like you're gonna make money sometimes?
It only feels like that recently.
How big is your sales team?
Just 2.
You need a bigger sales team.
Yeah. The problem we run into as we scale the sales team is clients being a pain in the ass.
Why?
They shouldn't have ever been sold.
They shouldn't what?
Clients shouldn't have been sold.
Was every salesperson you hired better than the last one?
We only have 2.
Yeah.
But yes.
So that's just sounds like a management thing. Like you're getting the entropy, right, of like more and more people, and now it's like, well, now there's more management, and now some people are selling the right expectations and some aren't. So like, yeah, I mean, you know how to solve that though, right? Like you set those better expectations with the closer, a little more management with them, and keep scaling up.
Yeah.
Can we touch more what you said about clients not, that maybe some clients shouldn't have been sold? Like, what do you guys do in that scenario? You say, we made a mistake, move on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's actually hard because you
Every client can be sold. Are they a licensed? Do they have a real estate license? If they have a real estate license, then they should be sold.
But you also said how if you were scaling down, you'd fire all the paintings.
Yes, if I was scaling down, you're trying to scale up though.
No, I'm trying to scale this painting company. but you need the cash from this one.
Yeah. So then you just use the 0% to cover your basis. But dude, your agency should have no basis in it. You shouldn't need any cash. For us, we don't use any of our cash to pay any agency bills. Everything's on the Amex, and our revenue covers the Amex. So dude, you have the cash. Use the cash for the painting company.
I heard this one quote before. It was like, if you had a wife and you had a girlfriend, you wouldn't take the wife, or you wouldn't take the money from that your wife is producing and get your girlfriend. Like then it's like, like you're cheating already, yes, but you wouldn't take what's
Did I explain
What is the highest leverage thing that you can do right now?
that I could do?
You, as a CFO, what is the highest leverage thing that you can do right now?
You're coming for us, aren't you?
He sure is, man. I respect it.
That's so dope though. You guys are like, well, not I won't say competition, but you guys are that and that close. That's fucking awesome.
I would massively build our sales team and execute on the plan we would have to take it to 8 figures. And I shouldn't say sales team, I should say sales teams. That's the hint that I'll give you.
Can I just say one other thing to that? Highest leverage activity is hiring better people because people create more leverage. So if you can just hire better people, like he said, in his case, salespeople, probably eventually hire an ops person too because they can create a ton of leverage. That's the highest leverage thing.
I got a question on what you said.
Yeah.
So when you hire someone that's, better than you or good at the thing, do you have to have a process in place, or do you hire them to build that process? Or do you add on a consultant?
So like you're hiring a CSM, do you need a process in place to succeed as a CSM?
Or do you hire someone to build that?
Really good question. Really good question.
Yeah, 'cause you guys haven't done none in your agency.
Haven't done what?
Anything in you guys' agencies.
I've never managed a client. Jared's never managed a client. He's never sold a client. I've never sold a client. So the thing is, processes change. So like, it's really about having the right person because the right people create the right processes. So for us, like our CSM process a year ago is way different than it is now. So if I had the process in place, it didn't really matter because the process was going to change and the person's going to have to be able to do that. So it's really about just finding the right person, and they will create the right process for whatever the position is. Yeah, Denzel.
Did you guys have to assist them developing the processes of the sales structure? Since you guys said that you guys don't participate, but do you guys have to like micromanage at some point to make sure that everything was going correctly?
For the sales team?
Yeah, 100%. I was the sales manager. I was the sales manager for a very long time in the state AI, and I had to help build out the process, without a doubt.
How long were you?
I just got out of that position. I'll say October. October was when we promoted a sales manager.
So that was the question I was going to ask is, you guys from the beginning weren't selling, weren't managing clients, et cetera.
We were managing the people that were doing
I
it.
was going to say, where was the majority of your time going on scaling stuff, doing it that way?
Managing the people that were doing it.
Two key levers to scaling. This is like, I made a joke about this on, I don't know if it was a YouTube video or podcast or something, but I was like, I saw this Instagram post one time. It had like 7 likes. It was like some agency scaling program. It had like 7 likes. It was just a shitty Canva image, but it was gold, bro. It was just like, and it struck with me, and I was like, this is what we need to do. And it was how to get to 8 figures. Never stop selling, never stop recruiting. That's it. You just never stop selling and you never stop recruiting. If you do both those things well, you get to 8 figures, or at least multi-7, right? I don't remember what your question was, but I just wanted to say that.
What was the majority of
Yes, that was it. Never stop selling, never stop recruiting. That was it. How can we find great people, build them up, and make as much cash flow as possible? CEO's job is generate revenue, generate amazing team members. That's it. And that's just like all you think about all day.
Where was the profit in that as far as, because when you were scaling up, now you're talking about revenue,
Mm-hmm.
but when you were doing the scaling and all that, where did profit play?
We were way more profitable.
Before?
Yeah. We were like 50% margins. Because our cost per acquisition, like our just cost per booked appointment was like $20.
That was a few months.
It was a few months.
That was not a long period of time.
It wasn't a long period of time. It was a few months.
The reason why it was like that was because we did not have the team that we needed to have to support the growth that we were dealing with, and we had a buffer
Yeah.
to allow for that increase in profit. But that's not. It's really not a real number, I would say.
Yeah.
What was your hardest lesson to learn as a leader?
Ooh, how much time you got? That's a good question. Hardest lesson learned as a leader. Okay, I'll be vulnerable with you guys for a second because I have a pretty big lesson. So there was this girl on our team, the one I said we hired earlier, and the empathy girl, the non-empathy girl that finessed an empathy test. I knew I shouldn't have hired her because I did not align with her core values. I didn't respect her, she didn't respect me, and I knew I shouldn't have hired her. But we were in so much pain as a department that I just needed someone, and I didn't trust my gut on that person. So your gut won't always tell you if the person's good, but it will tell you if the person's bad. So like one of the biggest things in the beginning was like, if your gut says this person's not good, don't do it. And the biggest mistake I made with her was then I brought her in and I started trying to appease her. Like, hey, I'm here for, like, yeah, you're here for you. Yeah, I'm here to lead you. But it was like, I was almost like being submissive to who she was because like I didn't want her to get pissed and then the team get pissed. I didn't want to break the team. So I started trying too hard. And one day in her EODs, she said some shit. It was like, what's one activity that went well today? And she was like, dropped a deuce. Or like, I swear, she said like, dropped a deuce. And we have a kind of funny culture. People say some wild shit. But when she said that, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, we're going to have to talk. So I hit her up. I'm like, yo, what's up with this?
You should see the stuff the sales team says.
Oh, it's worse. She was like, she was like, can I call you? It's like 9:30. I'm just like, fuck. Yes, you can call me. She calls me, and we hash it out. And she was like, I don't respect you as a leader. To my voice. That was the hardest thing that I ever dealt with. She said, I don't respect you as a leader. And I said, well, damn, that hurts. Why not? Why not? No, I didn't say you're fired. I said, why not? What am I going to fire her for? Radical honesty is one of our core values. She didn't respect me as a leader. What am I going to fire her for? Speaking the truth? I was a shitty leader, bro. I'm not going to fire you because I'm a bad leader. I said, why don't you respect me? She said, because you're trying too hard. She was right. I was trying too hard.
We didn't fire her for that.
I was trying too hard because I was not being my actual leadership self. I was trying to be, honestly, in a lot of ways, I was trying to be Jared. I was trying to be the high energy. How can I hype people up? That's not me. I'm not a motivational fucking speaker. I'm an empathetic, I care about you, one-on-one development person. That's who I am. I didn't build a relationship with her. I tried to hype her up. It wasn't her love language. It wasn't her style, and it wasn't mine. It was extremely inauthentic. And she saw right through it, and she called me out. She also was a very flawed person who should have never been in the company in the first place, and she had a lot of problems and shit. So that's why I wasn't able to figure out how to get through to her. But she called me out. She gave it to me like it was. I was trying too hard. That's the biggest lesson I learned. Don't try to be someone that you're not. Just be more of who you already are. And the right people will be attracted to that. I'm curious what Jared's is, because he does. If he has problems, he doesn't show it. So.
One of the most powerful things that Sergio taught me was that as leaders, our job is not to help people become something new, it's to help them wipe their mirror.
Mm. Can you say that last part again?
To help them wipe the mirror. A lot of times
Mm.
we all look at ourselves in a flawed view. We're looking at a weird, morphed version of ourselves. But realistically, it's there.
Yeah.
I hired you for a reason. I see
Yeah.
what's inside of you.
Yep. And when I did that with the right people, like our coach Jake, our head coach now, guy's a stud. When I first I saw so much potential in him, I helped him wipe his mirror, but it was authentic. It wasn't fake. So, yeah, that was the biggest lesson I learned. The biggest mistake I made, leadership wise.
Do you guys ever have trouble like promoting people too fast? Like head coach now, how long it took you to promote him from a coach to a head coach?
Too long. I should have done it sooner. Way too long.
What do you look for to like, hey, I should promote this guy?
He got to work harder than everybody else, or
So real demonstration of the core values and real alignment in the mission, like, because that committed person, you can't promote somebody who's not committed to the mission and then try to lead a team of people who are committed to the mission. It just won't work. So like our head coach was the most committed to the mission. Our media buyer, it's the same thing. Super, super committed, followed the core values, demonstrated the core values, stayed late, went above and beyond, actually gave a fuck, was a rising tide that raised all ships, was the CEO of their role. And when you do that and you promote that person, you're saying to the company, I value our core values and I value our mission and our vision more than I value how skilled you are. And so all the skilled people are like, shit, I may be good, but I'm never going to become CEO or sales manager or VP of customer success if I don't actually get this shit down. So that's really what I looked for. Jared might have a different take.
When they give you, this is something Sergio taught me, when they give you, if you have a problem, they're going to give you either the same answer you would give or a better one in terms of a solution. There's another question.
Jasmine asked, what was the biggest mistake you made as a leader?
Promoting people and not training them in that new role. Because a promotion, going from the person closing the deal to the sales manager is totally different. It's a totally different job. The best salesperson isn't going to be the best sales manager. So for me, I learned that from Scope, not Estate AI. So for Estate AI, I had a very good transition with our sales manager. And he is probably going to be the CEO when we exit the company. That's probably who the new owner will promote. And it's because I spent months training him. Just because I promoted him September. I was training him from September until the end of December. I was on meetings with him. I was still in the sales meetings, just sitting there, silent, not saying anything. And I would hop on with him after, and we would literally watch the recording, and I would, just like you would watch a recording of a sales call, I watched the recording of how he did a one-on-one, watched the recording of how he led the meeting, and did a ton of leadership training with him every single day. And to this day, I meet with him 3 times a week, to this day, on training and talking and going through problems and issues. Because learning how to be a manager is tough. So you can't just put someone in the role. And I learned that the hard way with Scope. And that agency collapsed because of it. So
I think maybe we have time for one more.
we have time.
I have a question about, you said currently you guys are only working like a few hours a week.
Yeah.
So what does that consist of?
Just team meetings. Just team meetings and then meeting with the department heads once or twice a week. All right, one more. Yeah, updates management.
OKRs once a quarter, obviously.
Can you ask that again, John? Briefly review the core values. Yeah.
Why?
How do you go about creating core
There you go.
That's the question.
What questions do you want?
That-
This is a great question. This is something I learned with my advisor. What questions do you think people should be able to answer by just knowing your core values, by embodying them, by it being a part of their DNA? What important questions should they be able to answer?
100%. That's why I was hesitant of telling you, because me telling you ours isn't going to do anything. It's going to put you in a box, and you're going to be like, ooh, but it doesn't sound like that. Make your own. What Jasmine's framework,
And
that was awesome.
That's where that inauthentic leadership starts. It's in your core values.
Any other questions, guys?
What are your OKRs for Q1? Or how did you make it?
I'll tell. You know what? I will tell you our OKRs for Q1. If you copy them, it's gonna fuck you up. But build the boardroom. Build the boardroom. Yeah.
Yeah, our OKR was, build leadership team so the company could run itself so we could exit. It worked, for the most part.
Not just to exit, but because the company needs to be able to run without Matt and I.
Which shows me that answers like a lot more questions you probably think.
I'm sure.
It shows me that you're not just looking at, okay, this OKR is revenue or how many clients. It shows that it can shift to different things. It can be whatever you need it to be.
We did revenue once. I will never do revenue again. I didn't want to do revenue. I don't set revenue goals. The team does not care about how much money you make. We actually just had an issue in the company because we had one employee leave, and she brought that up. Well, she got fired. She didn't leave, but she brought that up. I don't really care about making you guys into billionaires by 35. She literally called us fat capitalists. But I digress.
You're a capitalist. I'm a socialist.
Do you think those goals help for a sales team, but it's more of like a new revenue goal?
What?
Those goals for a sales team, but it'd be on
Yeah, our sales team always has a cash collection objective, a team one, and then and they have an individual scorecard minimum that they need to collect.
But don't you believe like your OKRs and owners can be whatever you guys want to achieve, and then the sub KRs can be whatever you want the team to achieve, and however you
We
want
just have to figure out how to
Well-
tie that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we just need to figure out how to tie the main OKR. Like, yeah, we have our idea of what we want. How can we word that in a way and messaging that resonates with the team? So how can we? It's monetary for us, kind of. To them, it shouldn't be monetary.
Definitely not monetary.
Because why would they care if you're at $1 million a month?
It's also not monetary to us most of the time. I personally don't see it.
Yeah, not with OKRs. Like we did.
Basically,
Fu-
automate the company so Matt and Jared don't have to work anymore. We can do whatever we want. Build the boardroom. We spend a lot of time on the actual verbiage of the OKR.
Yeah.
More time than we probably should. Actually, I disagree. We spend a good amount of time on it, and
Yeah.
we should keep doing that because that's really what inspires the team. Whenever we roll out OKRs, it's me practicing for running for political office. But
I knew it. I knew there was some shit going on when you roll out those OKRs because he went into a different mode, bro. He would go.
I make speeches.
He would, yeah.
I literally make speeches, and I always study some of the most historical and pivotal speeches, such as JFK's Man on the Moon speech.
And they're good, bro.
And MLK speech, and I always model speeches like that when I roll out OKRs because you have to inspire the team.
Yeah, they're really good. Another example, we were at like 150, 160, and we wanted to get to 250. And instead of 250,000 a month, we said fuel the rocket ship. Because our mission as a company is to shift the paradigm of the entire real estate industry. So our OKR was don't steal it. So our OKR was fuel the rocket ship to ignite the paradigm shift. We tied it into the mission. We focused on the fact that we're on a rocket ship. Jared had this. For us, in the background, it was 250 a month, and we had it by the end of the quarter. Yeah.
Fuel the rocket ship.
Fuel the rocket ship to ignite the paradigm shift. And everybody started doing rocket emojis, rocket emojis, rocket emojis.
People want to be a part of something.
whatever you need to accomplish to get to black
Yeah.
and white is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the key result?
Well, then that's the main objective. We never have a as measured by for the main objective, like the main objective, and then we have the key results associated with that per department, and then they have the A and Bs.
Like, I'll give you guys an example for the back end key results and like actual, like how does it get tangible? For us right now, it's like, I probably should know what it is, but it's like the key result for one of the back end ones. Don't worry, I won't give it all.
Churn.
Yeah, it's churn based. I forget what it's called, but it's basically like reignite the Facebook group or reignite the community, because our community started getting hit when Facebook's community group algo went down and like all the groups suck now. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but our community started going downhill. Our churn went up and things were bad. So our key result is to reinvigorate the community as measured by 5% churn, by 5% monthly churn by the last month of the quarter. Yes, you can write that down, I guess, and take it. And then like the key results below that are, okay, how do we reignite the community? And then we just keep reverse engineering. Well, we need more people on calls. We need more people on group calls because that's the most valuable metric for us to have. Instead of 20 people on a group call, can we get 50, 60 people on a group call? Then all the key results go into that. What do we need? Well, we need better SMS blasts. We need to start doing Canva graphics before each call. We need to hype them up. We need better guests. We just keep reverse engineering that process. So you can do that with sales. You can do that with back end. But that's just, I guess, an example of how we make it tangible.
But our managers made that. We didn't choose that.
Yeah. We'll let the managers choose it. And they're way better.
And then
this time,
their team decides how to execute on it.
Involvement breeds commitment. So if you can involve your team in whatever it is you're trying to do, they will be more committed to it. We saw that with OKRs this time. The team's actually committed to it because they came up with it.
Yeah.
So involvement breeds commitment. Involve your people as much as you possibly can, and they'll be so committed to your mission. I think one of the things that we can say we've done well is we've built a team that's not only talented, but bought the fuck in. They want this company to go to the places we think it can go to because they've been involved in the entire process.
Yeah, working with real estate agents and giving them leads and consulting isn't exciting, but you can make it exciting. I did a Loom video, and Maybe I'll send that out to you guys. I did a Loom video. It was like a 20, 30-minute game plan on how the company can impact their lives, how it can create generational wealth for them, and how basically they're at a startup. Like, imagine if you were working at Apple from the early days, and it was very emotional, and there were tears and things like that. So you just make it very exciting. I do plan on showing that to our sales team. Yeah, 100%. I want them to be scared. Because number one, they should be, and number two, they'll make more money, which will make the company more money. We have time for one more question, guys.
So you're obviously in real estate, and I noticed that you guys have a good amount of back end. I'm pretty heavily front end. I think everybody knows that. How did you change the mindset of them to get them to pay you more? 'Cause I think you were saying like half and half or whatever, front end versus back end. I guess.
Still something we're working on. Just ask them, what do they want? What do they want? What was the problem that we created for them that they now need a solution for? Yeah. And we just asked our clients that. And that's how we were able to get the product, and then we just sold it. And whenever a client posts a win, we have a dedicated closer that is supposed to go out there and try to get that client to set an appointment and cross-sell them. Cross-sell them.
And I guess I'm even starting with just, like, I guess we really try to front look at it. Maybe we shouldn't. I like it.
You guys are at the stage you don't need backing right now at your stage. I don't think so. You're not even you have a new sales team. You need to stabilize a little bit. If you do that, I would just stabilize your front end team, because it's been a few months, right? So like I would give it some more time first, but don't take too long.
One thing I'll add to back-end offers, I don't know if this was Cole Gordon or if it was Alex Hermosi, but it really stuck with me. He said, build the thing build the product your customers want you to build, not the thing you want to build. So like, I remember when we were coming up with back-end offer, I was like, oh, we should do this, this, and this, because I thought it was cool. Same thing with the front-end offer. Build the thing the customers actually want. Like, it's so simple, but just build something that people want. If they want ISAs, how can you figure that out? If they want buyer ads, how can you figure that out? If they want more advanced community and coaching, how can you figure that out? Build the thing that the customers want, not the thing that you want to build.
And with it, I guess I was more so just looking at contract value to start. Like, we get most of it up front, but the stuff that we don't get up front is kind of hard to get.
Cool, if you're still getting it, you're getting it, bro.
But we're not. Well, yeah, we are. I guess I want to extend the LTV. Like, I think I know that you said it's
But you're,
free revenue is like 50-50. We're like.
you mentioned your clients aren't even staying after 4 months. You do not need a back-end offer.
Oh yeah, so that's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about a back end offer. Just billing after the sale.
Oh, they're not paying their second, third payments?
Yes, but we get 90% of our payments up front anyway. But I'm just wondering, because I want to shift that eventually, because that's a huge lever.
Eventually.
Eventually, but you're
Eventually.
Zach, just give me information.
So what exactly is the question? How are you
getting contract value after the first call? Like say, I know back in the day it was 6K or 9K,
Yeah.
whatever. Say you got 4,500 up front. How are you getting the extra 2,500? Is there anything else that you're doing?
Auto build them?
Yeah, we just auto bill them, just like 30 days after, 60 days after.
In a small amount, because we do that, but then their accounts, they don't have enough money because of realtors.
Then yeah. So if a Stripe payment ever fails, if it's $1,500, then we charge $500. A lot of times that will go through. Yeah. And then we just let them know. And so our CSRs, like, we have a failed payment status in Monday.com, which is our project management. Anytime a payment fails in Stripe, it updates to payment failed. We have one column that's just payment failed, and we just call those people every single day.
I'll see you guys in the next one, and make sure you guys select one of these videos that the YouTube algorithm just hand selected for you. See you guys.